Hi folks, I'm going to be putting some shelving in my little workshop area here. Be a 10-inch deep shelf along there, and I'll fill this in with maybe a 4-inch piece so I get a little more work surface. I'll make it flush with this countertop somehow, and I'm going to film doing that. You can see I was testing where I might like a shelf and what it might look like with this terrible contraption. So yeah, I'll clear this off and see where we can get. Okay, so got the bench cleared off here, and I'll show you some of the hardware I'm thinking I'm going to use. So here's just the common boards I have. I have two 10-inch deep pieces. One's 8 feet long. It'll go the entire length here. And I'll use these 8 by 10 inch brackets, so 8-inch side on a stud, 10-inch side coming out, along with these number 10 1.5 inch wood screws. And that'll be the kind of the main shelf along here, and I have plenty of studs I can hit, so I'll evenly space these 4 along 4 of these stud points. Probably won't be able to quite hit a stud right at the end, maybe. This table's pretty much where I want it, because I'm going to put another 6-foot bench here that's going to go flush all the way to the wall. So we'll have that 10-inch, and then I'll have a 20-inch deep shelf coming out here, and it'll be 2 feet wide to kind of fill in this dead space here. And I'll put this, what is this thing? The USW Pro 24 PoE, the Unify switch, and it is still on the bench because, unfortunately, it's powering these shop lights I have, so he'll have to stay, and I'll try to minimize the dust he sucks in. And for that bigger shelf, I've got these, I think they're 10 by 16 inch brackets, much bigger. I'm not going to be able to hit a stud on at least one of these, so I've got these pretty hefty leg or toggle bolts to put into the drywall, and that should be plenty sufficient for whatever's ever going to be on that shelf. And then I'll have a 4-inch piece here, flush with the work surface to give me more bench space. And I don't love the idea of tying it right and having to drill into the workbench, but I think I'm going to have to, because there is a support bracket, if you can see that right here, and it is totally flush with the back of that. And I just don't think I'm going to be able to get enough meat on the edge here to put some sort of like L bracket. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these mending plates, and I'll have these big ones on the left and right like this to hopefully get some stability to the back of that board. And then I'll use these smaller ones. I don't know if I'll use all 4, but maybe 3 evenly spaced, and they'll be like this, and I'll tie into the top. And so hopefully that works. So I'm going to get the laser out, and I'll measure where I want all these, and I'll be back. Okay, so I've got the laser out now. Yes, I'm cheating. Yes, I have a laser. If you don't have one, I recommend you get it. So I've got my straight edge here, right flush with the corner of the bench. And I've already taken one of these guys and made a little bit of a mark. And that mark is less important. So what I'm going to do now is, sorry about that, I will mark the holes where I want them. And I want to be I want the right edge of this on the right edge of my straight edge, because I want to hit the stud perfectly and have the shelf end when the workbench does. And I did change my mind. I moved the table over about 2 inches to the right so I can hit a stud perfectly on each side. And so what we'll do here is I will mark the center of these holes like so. And then what I'll do is I'll lower the laser down over the hole line, and I'll use that to mark my holes for the next 3 brackets, so I know they're all exactly level. And then as I get them installed, I'll actually check them with a real level, because I'm paranoid. And so I will get those holes marked, and we'll start putting in brackets. All right, just wanted to show you what I meant earlier about using a laser to mark the rest of the holes for the brackets. So I actually had to turn a couple of these lights off so you could even see the laser on film. So sorry it's a little darker, but basically I have the laser on the right positioned on what I know is the top hole of the bracket. And so not really, luckily I don't have to be, NASA precise here. So I can just put the laser line on the top hole of this bracket. I know this is a stud based on the drywall screws going in. And I can mark center on each of my holes. And basically you repeat that process for all the brackets. All right, so we're ready to drill some pilot holes. So you can see all my mistakes I made off camera, but these V notches point to the right holes. And so I have one there. I got another one here. You can see hopefully you can see the 3 dots that are for the bracket. Put another one right here, basically just wherever I had studs that seemed reasonable in the middle. And then over here, you can see all my other mistakes. But the V tells me it's these 3, and that's right at 8 feet to the edge of the bracket. So I think that'll fit nicely. So let's drill some holes. And now we'll put the brackets in. All right, I don't know if you'll be able to tell from that time lapse, but I really should have been using like a 6-inch drill bit. The edge of my drill kept bumping up against the bracket and stripping the screws. So if I ever take those out, I'm definitely going to have to drill them out, which is too bad. Most of them anyway. So I don't have any long drill bits right now. So this terrible contraption you see is hopefully a better way to accomplish this. You see, yeah, you can see in the frame there, my drill doesn't nearly bang against the bracket quite as much. So I'll finish this one up and be right back. So just to kind of reiterate that's what screws are supposed to look like. And these are the mangled screws I produced without having the extenders on my drill. So when you're screwing in these brackets, definitely have the longer drill bits or at least some sort of extender. All right, so doing sort of a placement fit on this 10-inch deep shelf. And I gotta say, for how quick I went, and only measuring once, I'm surprised at how close I got. So it's almost perfect. And when I put the screws from under the bracket, I'll just tighten that up. And on the other end, it's kind of the same story. So I'll just tighten this up, pull the wood onto it. Was ever so slightly warped. It's just common board from Home Depot. So tried to get the flattest one I could, but the brackets will straighten that out. So this isn't going to be fun, I don't think. I don't really want to move this bench, but we'll see if I can hand screw these, and I don't have to move the bench. So I'll be back after that. Okay, good news and a change of plan. I was totally able to hand screw in these number 8 little 1/2-inch guys. Could totally hand screw those in. Board becomes flat, looks really good. I'll only have to do the 3 on the left and right bracket. It's not going anywhere in the middle, so I won't bother. But I forgot I wanted to cut little half circles, 3 of them, evenly spaced for cords to drop through. It's about 1 inch right here, but kind of a bulky, PC power plug isn't going to go. So I'll cut maybe a 2-inch diameter half circle on each part. I'll take this off and do that, and I'll leave it off because I realize it makes way more sense to install the back part with this out of my way. So I'll show you how I cut those circles, half circles anyway, and then we'll install that little back plane. Okay, so I made my 3 marks where I want my little half circles, and I'll use this furniture, desk hole cover as a template basically to trace. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect, and I'll definitely have to come back and sand this, but basically I'll hold that roughly on my mark, pencil around it, then I've got a half circle, and then we'll use this guy over here, jigsaw, to cut those out. All right, finished product. 3 more or less half circles, and I'll come back and sand those later. And of course, full disclosure, only do this if you know what you're doing. I'm sure you saw in the clip I almost chopped into my own cord because I was too busy looking at the camera. So on to that flat surface. Okay, starting on this back plate, I'll have a bracket like this. You can see I've already got it going on either side, and then where needed, we'll have something like this going on to tie into it, because I couldn't create big enough blocks down there because this is just flush to a supporting plate. And I don't know, it just, putting it on the wall just didn't seem right, because now I can take it off if I want, move it around. It didn't need that much support. So as much as I don't like bolting it into this nice workbench surface, it's towards the back and we'll be all right. So what I'm going to do is I'll need to trim it down, actually. 8 feet doesn't mean 8 feet. It's like 8 feet in an inch or something like that. So I'll trim that end. I'll put little half moons in it as well, just in case. And then I'll bracket it up and we'll see how it looks. All right, status update. Back plane is in. On each end, there's a bracket like this. Could only get 1 screw. This is a little too low to hold the edges. And then 3 mending plates along the top. Of course, another one on the left. And I cut the half circles at roughly the same spots as the top board. So they'll line up pretty nicely. This was really the only mending plate needed for structural support. But the wood had a pretty good bow in it on either end. And these do a nice job of holding it down and keeping everything flat. Not the prettiest thing, but yeah, I think it ended up a little better than I expected. And I get a little more workbench space, and this shelf will be kind of less in my face when I'm using the bench. So I will get my 10-inch piece on, and we'll take a look at the finished product. All right, so here it is. Top plate installed, back plate installed, and I got my monitor and a keyboard up here for reference to see what it might be like to use the bench. Again, I was going to put a 2 foot wide, 20-inch deep shelf right here in the corner. It'll be the same level as this one. Probably another half moon for these, half circle. But I'll skip that. I think this video is long enough, and it's basically the same as installing a smaller version of this top one. So yeah, I'm really satisfied with how this came out. I'll be able to use this space way more efficiently. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.